Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. How you doing everyone? Welcome into the program. So today on the show we have computer and technology news, though we're going to dedicate a big part of the beginning of it to, Facebook, or should I say the company currently known as Facebook, which may be rebranding into something else entirely. And we're going to have a little discussion about what the metaverse is and what Facebook, I'm sure, is thinking it's going to be, and well, where do we all go from here? Because this is going to be a big influence going forward. So we're going to talk about that, and then with any time we have left over, we have a ton of different stories, some very fun ones, including the fact that there was, in fact, let's see, I think I have it right here. Here we go. An elaborate CryptoEats company with logos and t-shirts and influencers and events and launch parties and all this other promotion kind of built up to it, and then people deposited some money in it, tried to use it, and instantly snapped up $500,000 worth of cryptocurrency in just a couple of minutes. It's really something new, and it shows how elaborate some of these schemes are getting. We have that story. We have a ton of different ones, including the fact that, hey, PayPal may actually purchase Pinterest. If you're a Pinterest user, then get used to the idea of PayPal, because it looks like the two are going to be one in the same. We have that. We have a little follow-up to the Amazon story we did yesterday about how they lied to Congress, and this story is not an admission, because as with many settlements that these companies do, they always have a little disclaimer at the end saying that, yeah, sure, we paid $18 billion, but we admit to no wrongdoing. We just felt like paying exorbitant fees, because why not? So we have an article about that and their new policy on data use. And then the last story I'm going to tease, and then we'll go ahead and get into some of these stories and have our conversation for the day. For anyone out there who's heartbroken and actually did not hear about this, Apple's $19 polishing cloth. Well, the shipping times are a little bit backed up. I'm assuming through due to high demand. Yes, the $19 polishing cloth, which is probably just a microfiber wipe, is back ordered. Man, people will do anything. Now, with all that being said, everyone, ComputerAmerica.com. That's where you'll find everything, past shows, future shows, everything you need to know about the program. You can find right there. And yeah, we highly encourage you to go ahead and check that out. While you're there, be sure to check out our social media links, check out articles, reviews. If you can't catch us live on IRN, then you can, of course, catch us wherever podcasts are heard. Simply search Computer America and we'll pop right up. And I think that's just about it. We have a bit of a schedule change. I'm actually going to be out of town next week, starting like the 27th, which is a Wednesday, and then I'll be back next the 1st of November. But that means that a couple of our correspondents are not going to be available, and we are going to work to reschedule them. We already have Nathan Evans, managing editor over at popzara.com. You can find him this Friday. He'll be here joining us to talk about everything. And, he's always a lot of fun. You should definitely check that out. So, again, the end of next week, we will be doing Best of Computer America. So, everyone, let's go ahead and get started with computer and technology news, and that is brought to you by Computer America. So before we get started, I'll leave you with a little question. If you had the opportunity to rename Facebook to anything that you want, and it has to be safe for radio, what would you call it? I think a lot of people out there would, maybe go with something silly like, I don't know, the Zuckerverse. Would you call it Facebook 2.0 and be a little, traditional with it? Would you try to name it Zucks Unlimited? Just stuff like that. Well, looks like that's the question Facebook has on the table for themselves, because Facebook is planning to rebrand the company with a new name. And if you're kind of wondering, has this ever been done before? Has such an established company ever tried to rebrand itself? The answer is yes, and it actually happened much more recently than you may remember. You can think of, Google. Google used to be just the search engine, and a lot of things that they did, everything was branded with Google this, Google that. Everything was just Google. So, but around 2012, 2013, they rebranded into the Alphabet Company because they were no longer just the big letter G. They had a lot of other projects that they were working on, and that included things like self-driving cars. That was their data management, that was their advertising, that was their search engine, that was their social media site, which was short-lived. That was everything and anything in between that they were doing, and they found it better for, I'm sure, either tax reasons or administration reasons or even liability reasons, to rebrand themselves as the Alphabet Company. And even though it was the starting part of the company and probably the most well-known part of it, it became simply another arm of the larger Alphabet Company. So I draw that analogy to what is going to happen to Facebook in the coming weeks, because they've been wrestling with this for a little while, and now, after hearing the term dozens of times before actually talking about it, we are going to be entering the metaverse. And the metaverse has been in, kind of the English world for a number of years. It was coined by a particular author who currently escapes me. I think it's in this article here. But yeah, it's this idea that you blend the virtual and the physical world, and it's something, meta being higher than other things, or having multiple layers, is very meta. And yeah, so that's what Facebook is hoping to really capitalize on. They see the future as not just places that you meet online versus places that you meet in person. No, everything's going to have layers upon layers of information and collaboration on top of each other. So you end up with this weird task to rebrand Facebook, which, let's face it, Facebook is, if anyone was going to lead the charge into a dystopian, futuristic, Matrix-style world, I can't imagine a company better than Facebook themselves. They mentioned that the coming name change, which CEO Mark Zuckerberg plans to talk about at the company's annual Connect conference on October 28th, but could unveil sooner, is meant to signal the tech giant's ambition to be known for more than just social media and all the ills that entail. Rebrand would likely position the Blue Facebook app as one of the many products under a parent company that oversees things like Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus, and more. A spokesperson for Facebook declined to comment on the story. So clearly they're being a little tight-lipped about this, but everyone can see the writing on the wall. They have a lot of different projects going on, and they don't just want Facebook, the company, to also kind of in the background own all these other little projects. No, they want to grow each of them into their own mega Facebook style company. And yeah, I'll be honest, between WhatsApp and Instagram, they definitely have capitalized on social media in general. So now they're trying to branch out just a little bit. Facebook already has more than 10,000 employees building consumer hardware like AR glasses that Zuckerberg believes that eventually will be as ubiquitous as smartphones. Now, will augmented reality be as ubiquitous as smartphones? That's going to depend on a lot of things. And this is where our conversation is going to, start here with this, and it's this idea that Mark Zuckerberg is really doubling down on this idea of what future of on what the future of society will look like, and he believes it to be, not surprisingly, as the owner of a company that just sucks up as much data as possible. Yeah, he sees it as data-driven, data-integrated, app-integrated, socially integrated, and all of it with technology. It's not enough just to exist. You have to exist with information. And that's different, because before you have your portal into the online world and you have real life, and there's a reason why, when you play video games, you have this idea of, you have this idea that you say, be right back, bio, of course, being short for life, as in what you're doing is not life. It's something else that you kind of escape from. And Mark Zuckerberg sees that as, well, those lines are going to blur. Life and online identities, online information, online friends, social groups, shopping, what have you, all of that is eventually going to blur and blur and blur until the two are one in the same. There will be no more be right back bio. It is simply, I'll take you guys with me. It's very, very different. So, and by the way, the verge of having all your data from cradle to grave and beyond. Yeah, exactly. It's, let's face it, we already live in a society where when you're born, and I don't condone this whatsoever, but parents make a Facebook account for their babies, and they start posting pictures of their babies when they are much, much, much too young. And by the time that they grow up, I am sure that these kids have inherited their own Facebook profile, and they never know a time where they don't have an audience, where they don't have constant access. They are not enabled with the ability to just constantly say whatever they want and have immediate reaction. I mean, remember when we were kind of kids, we were told to, good kids were seen and not heard, told to shut up. The most impact you had were on your friends at school or your friends in your neighborhood, and that was about it. No, the future means you have a global impact, and what they're talking about with the metaverse is that that's not going away anytime soon. It's going to continue. And of course, a lot of us don't share even, just pictures of their dogs or what have you. Some of us don't engage in this, but the writing is on the wall. And with 2 billion active daily users, even though Facebook is seeing massive growth outside of the United States, outside of the developed world, in places like Africa and India, that's where they see a lot of their growth. But those places are hungry for new marketplaces, new enterprise, new ways to buy, sell, trade goods, advertise themselves, entertain themselves. It's, we may be a little over it, but there are billions of people on Earth that aren't over it, and they are looking forward to finally getting it. And then, of course, what form is that going to take? How much can Facebook or this metaverse company suck them into that immersive 3D world? Or, that augmented reality world. We're definitely going to have to wait and see. But clearly, once again, Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg are doubling down on this idea that they are a metaverse company. Now, a rebrand. Oh, and by the way, for anyone who's asking, I truly believe that they should name it Facebook 2 Electric Facebook 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's just throwing that out there, completely free, probably royalties to, not myself, but they should do it. I think they could do it. Now, a rebrand could also further separate the futuristic work of Zuckerberg is focused on from the intense scrutiny that Facebook is currently under for the way its social platform operates today. And oh my God, we talk about Facebook and their travesties against data privacy all the time. It is a not so hidden secret that they are honestly one of the worst culprits in just sucking up useless data and keeping it forever. And then, of course, trying to analyze it. Facebook 2, the faced and Karens and Karenists. There we go. The faced and Karenists. There we go. But yeah, no, it's Facebook is a little detested. Again, in the developed world, they are under intense scrutiny, intense public interest. It's not good. So when Facebook says, oh, we want to be even more than that, we want to be your everything, not in a romantic way, but in a creepy, once again, dystopian way, they want to be your everything. Some people are really going to not like that. So they're hoping that this new company, whatever comes out next week, is going to, once again, be seen over Facebook, but not be seen as Facebook, much like Alphabet is not seen as Google. One is a subsidiary of the other, and I know that a lot of people just consider Google to be, kind of the main company, but still Alphabet does exist for a reason. Now, they said that, the author from The Verge here mentions that they're told that the new Facebook company name is a closely guarded secret within its walls and not known widely, even among its full senior leadership. So again, we're going to learn in about a week. They mentioned that a possible name could have something to do with Horizon. Yes, Horizon. Not my favorite, but New Horizon. I don't know. Metaverse Horizon. I don't know. They said that the name of the still unreleased VR version of Facebook meets Roblox that the company has been developing for the past few years. The name of the app was recently tweaked to Horizon Worlds shortly after Facebook demoed a version for workplace collaboration called Horizon Workrooms. Honestly, between those two, saying that there's Horizon Worlds and Horizon Workrooms, I'm betting Horizons is probably going to be the name. Or even just Horizon is going to be the name of this company that is going to encompass, once again, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus, and more. So aside from Zuckerberg's comments, Facebook has been steadily laying the groundwork for a greater focus on the next generation of technology. This past summer, it set up a dedicated metaverse team. And in fact, they even announced, Facebook announced to hire 10,000 more employees to work on the metaverse in Europe. Remember, Facebook, the company, and it's not WhatsApp, Oculus, and Instagram, but Facebook, just the company, employs 10,000 people. And so they just dedicated to hiring 10,000 more people to work on this next phase of the company and really what their digital offerings. It's almost like they're creating a second Facebook just to get this up and going. Now, what is that going to look like at the end of the day? Who's to say? But it's clearly they are putting a lot of emphasis on this. Like they are taking this company, and it's not often you see large multi-billion-dollar companies like this or trillion-dollar companies like this and just say, oh yeah, sure, we were heavily focused on this whole social media thing, but we're going to turn the knob a little bit, and now we are this completely different thing. And it's, well, not completely different, but we are that plus even more. It's different. The metaverse is going to be a big focus, and this is a quote from Zuckerberg himself saying that, and I think that this is just going to be part of the next chapter for the way the internet evolves after the mobile internet. He says, quote, and I think it's going to be the next big chapter for our company too, really doubling down in this area, end quote. So obviously complicating the matter is that while Facebook has been heavily promoting the idea of the metaverse in recent weeks, it's still not a concept that's widely understood. They mentioned that the term was originally coined by sci-fi novelist Neil Stephenson to describe a virtual world escape a virtual world people escape to from a dystopian real world. Think The Matrix, but people actually want to go into the Matrix to escape the crappy life that they are living. Now it's being adopted by one of the world's largest and most controversial companies, and it'll have to explain why its own virtual world is worth diving into. It's honestly kind of one of those things that's a little bit funny that this idea of a metaverse, which was first coined by, as I said, Neil Stephenson, as a way to escape your crappy life and go somewhere that you actually want to be in a dystopian future. And now this, one of the most dystopian companies, being Facebook, they're the ones who are going to be offering this horizon, or whatever it is that they eventually end up calling this thing. And for those who don't really know, while they said it's a concept that's not widely understood, it's definitely going to involve virtual reality because they have Oculus. They have put a lot of money into it, and they are still supporting Oculus. They're looking at, they're looking at this virtual space as the next workspace, as the next collaborating space, as the next social hangout, whatever it may be. And then they have the augmented, where you can take it out into the wild, and instead of looking at your phone every 2 seconds, you can wear augmented reality glasses that will overlay information, including advertising, including data tracking, location tracking, so on and so forth. It's going to lay all of this information out in front of you. And then, of course, there's the physical world, which I'm sure Facebook is hoping for, that it's going to look rather bland if you don't have the digital overlay on the real world. It's a bit scary to think that, hey, this might actually work. It's, clearly our world has changed with the addition of certain technologies. You can look at maps where, before you had big paper maps and, they were always different due to construction. But now we have up to the minute, up to date, instant travel apps that give you police speed traps, that give you crash sites every 2 seconds. Really changed how we kind of drove from one place to another. And it really changed how technology influence our behavior and where we go and what we do. And of course, you go into advertising, you look at star rating systems, how you purchase, how you shop online, ship it right to your door, all that kind of thing. I mean, technology has fundamentally changed our behavior. And if this is to be believed, Facebook believes that they can change our behavior once again. I don't know. Is this really, is this something that Facebook can do? Who knows? But they just might. Just rebrand as the empire. So, okay, there you go. That's what Facebook is really planning. Is this something that is good? Who knows? We'll know more next week how they restructure, but expect a lot more VR, AR. If you're not a fan of VR, AR, I'm sure a lot of people who have sight problems are not the biggest fan of this because it causes disorientation and things like that. Hey, may not be for you, but to a lot of people, it will certainly be on their radar. So, okay, there you go. That's it. And and by the way, just want to mention one thing about that video of The Verge. About The Verge messing up that computer build video. And I saw that, but I have to admit, man, people really milked that video for, some pretty basic mistakes. And, some of them were valid. You can think about like the thermal paste and how horribly it was applied, and how, the cooling fan setup was not optimal and, not good for the case. But man, people were ruthless talking about just how bad that build was, because I think, the inflammatory comments were a little bit worse than what was justified. But I think they should have had a little bit more care put into that presentation. But overall, it wasn't that bad. It was like a solid, 4 out of 10 build. It was not like a 1 out of 10 Titanic type build. But still, there you go. Okay, so with that being said, so there's the first one, and I think I had, I had another article explaining the metaverse, but yeah, we'll get to that later. Well, actually, we won't, but okay, so of all these other stories, I wanted, we had a lot of fun ones. Let's do something light after spending so much time talking about that. This one's going to be quick. I'm sure a lot of you out there are very, very impatiently waiting for your Apple $19 polishing cloth to arrive. Well, and those were available with Apple's new MacBook Pros, because, hey, if you have accessories, if you're going to be paying $6,100 for a MacBook, you can't just wipe it off with your shirt or paper towel, you troglodyte. No, you have to actually use the $19 microfiber polishing cloth, which they promise. It is certified. These things are compatible with all devices. Yes, this microfiber cloth is compatible with all Apple devices. No one else gives that certification for their cloths. And they mentioned that due to low supply, overwhelming demand, and some combination of both, there's a delay. They have been delayed by a full week, and the polishing cloth boasts support for an impressive range of Apple products, and they even mentioned things sold back in 2014. So this is truly a cloth for everyone. Everyone can definitely, can definitely do this. So with that being said, the polishing cloth isn't a new Apple product. It has shipped with the $5,000 Pro Display XDR monitor back in 2019, but this is the first time they've offered its best, most premium polishing cloth to the users of other devices. So, yeah, and yes, and I'm sure it will be a type of collectible. I mean, let's face it, and you can barely tell it here in the product image. Again, if you're looking at the video portion, right there, a little embossed Apple logo. So that's probably where $18.30 of the $19 is going, is right there to that little logo right there. So, yep. Everyone, just a little update. Your polishing cloth is pushed back by a week. Okay, how about we can talk about a little update to yesterday's story. If you were paying attention yesterday, we talked about Amazon and the fact that Amazon had a bit of a lawsuit. They unfortunately lied to Congress, and Congress gave them a chance to kind of clarify their statements to no longer be lying to Congress. They said that nothing we said was a lie, but we're going to change a couple of things. Here's a bit of an update where suddenly, for no reason, through their own generosity, Amazon offers up more data to third-party sellers over which items will be popular. And remember, this is what Congress got on Amazon's tail for lying about, because they said that Amazon had their own internal data that no one else had access to. They're able to look at products, look at what they were making, how they were making it, all that good stuff, and then they were introducing their own products with, the data that they only had access to because they are the marketplace. They had their own products, positioned it so that they knew, that, oh, hey, people aren't buying phone cases, but they are buying laptop stands, whatever. They put out a laptop stand, and because they own the system, Amazon Basics is the first thing that pops up in the search results, and therefore it becomes the most popular product in the category. That is what Amazon is accused of. Very, very bad antitrust type offenses. Well, today, Amazon has announced a tool that will give sellers access to information about what shoppers are currently looking for and help make it easier to choose which products to create next. Amazon calls it the Product Opportunity Explorer and says that it'll give sellers access to data and trends that help them identify opportunities to launch new, high potential products to serve unmet customer demand. Now think about that. To meet unmet customer demand and identify opportunities. That is exactly what Congress accused Amazon of doing, and now they're giving out a tool to let everyone use it. Yes, this kind of gets them out of hot water, but I'm wondering if this just kind of also opens up that litigation to say, you had this, you've been using this for yourself, for your own benefit, and now you're just offering to everyone after you're caught. How is that fair? So while Amazon quotes a seller saying that they're excited to get recommendations specifically relevant to their business, it's easy to imagine other sellers being nervous that Amazon's suggestion could direct businesses to rip off existing products. In its press release, Amazon says that the tool gives sellers rich insights into what customers are searching for, clicking on, buying, and not buying, along with detailed data to search volume and growth, sales history, and pricing trends. So clearly, if you see that, product cannot meet demand for this, and this, then obviously you need more products to fill the demand for this, and this. Pretty simple, but again, information that was only for Amazon before. Now, there are some other minor concerns. If everyone has access to the same data or gets similar recommendations, could it start a more algorithm-directed arms race between sellers to be the first to try to perceive a niche? And could Amazon risk damage to its relationship with sellers if the data predicts a product will do well, but ends up totally flopping, which is always the case? I think that just giving the raw data and having everyone have access to it, there's no way around it. That is just simply better than trying to predict or anything else without the data. Just give it, and if they interpret it right, it's great. If they don't, that's also what it's going to be. I mean, you can look at things like the stock market, where everyone has access to the same kind of data, and there are people who are very, very well trained and go to school all the time to try to read that data, and they're called, hedge fund managers and economists. But yeah, no one knows the future, and lots of things can happen. I think that just having the extra data is going to help a lot of people. The company may have the opportunity to figure those questions out before they become real problems. They mentioned that the Product Opportunity Explorer is in beta before releasing to all sellers in 2022. So, again, the thing that they said they weren't doing, well, turns out they were, and now they're turning it into a full-blown tool that I'm sure is going to be, by invite only. So, or through partnership with Amazon. So there you go. Now this story. We have plenty of time to talk about this one. If you haven't heard about this, it's craziness. CryptoEats. You may not have heard about it, but it sounds similar enough that you might have, scratch the back of your brain, think CryptoEats. Oh, maybe, I've heard cryptocurrency. I've heard Uber Eats, kind of mash the two together. And hey, you could have a legitimate company. Well, turns out they didn't, but they did everything short of, creating a real company. And honestly, with how popular it was, I'm surprised that they didn't. But let's talk about this. They mentioned that, so for the last week, a handful of UK-based celebrities have been talking about a new startup called CryptoEats that would compete against Uber Eats by allowing customers to pay for food deliveries in cryptocurrency. The creators mocked up a logo, got TikTok influencers to promote it, and one to even wear swag on a video, apparently threw a party, so, blew out the stops as much as any other company would have, and announced that the Eats token, the EATS token, through a press release that went out over a service used often by legitimate companies. They did their due diligence. They know how to launch a company. Almost immediately after its launch, CryptoEats vanished from the internet along with a few $100,000 in one of the more elaborate crap coin rug pulls. Now, if you don't recall, we talked about rug pulls about 2 weeks ago with NFTs and how there was that one fighting game that was going to, it was supposed to be a fighting game, but all of the assets were NFTs that they were going to sell on an NFT marketplace. And after the NFTs went up for sale, the owner of the project, or at least the owner of the wallet who was funding the project, deleted everything, closed the Discord, blocked everyone, and walked away with $2.9 million in cryptocurrency after the NFTs were sold. So that's what a rug pull is. You entice people into this project, you have high hopes, it's all going to be good, and then you just delete everything after investors flood your coffers. I'm sure that it's happened many times in the past without cryptocurrency, but man, cryptocurrency and NFTs seem to be like flies to honey. Do flies like honey? I don't know, but they love it either way. In a press release, which can be found on Yahoo Finance, CryptoEats claimed it had raised $8 million in a Series A funding. How could such a low-key idea to accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment for your food attract such interest from the cryptocurrency community? That's what they themselves asked, by the way. CryptoEats' first real step in allowing people to use cryptocurrency as a form of payment for items in the real world. So there you go. And so the press release, which was released on Globe Newswire, which, I've actually have used many times before. They are perfectly legitimate. Globe Newswire, went on to claim that its founder, Wade Phillips, had partnered with Nando's, McDonald's, and hired an army of delivery drivers that would allow the company to compete head-on with Uber Eats and Deliveroo. If you don't know what Deliveroo is, that's because you don't live in the UK or Australia. But thanks to its algorithm-based blockchain implemented software. Good old algorithm-based blockchain implemented software. The CryptoEats website claimed it had hundreds of restaurants to choose from and promised odd-sounding features such as ordering individual items and having a driver pick them up from different restaurants on the way to your place. It promised coffee delivery within 5 minutes at the press of a button and promised potential workers a pension contribution and guaranteed salary. Obviously, if you're making a fake company to attract interest, you're going to make that thing look super great. They might as well have thrown in that we're going to provide all drivers with a gold-plated Prius. Really, hey, there's no risk because you're just going to rug pull them anyways. Ahead of the token sale, it even got influencers to wear CryptoEats branded delivery uniforms. Think about the satisfaction and, kind of the deviousness behind it. You're sitting there, you're running the scam, and only you know that you're about to bilk a bunch of people out of a lot of money, and you send out fake company t-shirts to these influencers, and these influencers put it on, stand in front of a camera, and they are singing your praises, all while you're sitting there going, this is probably just going to ruin their reputation and make me a lot of money. This is going to be great. So they mentioned that none of this is true, and Wade Phillips seemingly does not exist. So obviously, fake name. Soon after launching token sales this weekend, blockchain records show the CryptoEats developer wallet transferred roughly $500,000 in Binance coin into various wallets, and the project completely disappeared off the internet. Its Instagram, Telegram, and website are all gone. And like many other NFT and BSC token rug pulls, its investors are screwed because that's one of the risks of cryptocurrency is that it is decentralized. You can't call up Bitcoin, 1-800-BITCOIN and just kind of hope that they can get your money back. No, it's pretty much gone. There's no regulatory body over this. There's no FDIC insurance for your investment. And like many other NFT, an email sent to the address listed on CryptoEats press release immediately bounced back. So they even took down the exchange server for their email services. So what makes CryptoEats more interesting than your average rug pull was that the elaborate setup as well as the speed of his disappearance. Several people who watched it happen in real time suggest that the company disappeared mere minutes after the token sale launch, and after a week or so, of a concerted influencer-led hype fest, which was detailed and archived by this YouTuber who they have in the who they have in the article. Again, this article, we'll link to it in the show notes over at computeramerica.com. So they mentioned that the coin is launching on the 17th of October. All I'm saying is that use your brains. They've got more money than they know what to do with. That's what the personal trainer TikToker said to his 400,000 followers, saying that, quote, "And if you've got more money than you know what to do with, and you're launching something that's better than other things, it will do well." So essentially using their platform to scam his followers. In a week's time, in a month's time, in 2 months' time, that business could be the biggest food delivery app in the UK, and it hasn't been listed yet. They mentioned that promoter bouncer and DJ Charlie Sloth, who has 1 million followers on Instagram, promoted the company on its app. According to the video archived by Scarcity Studios, the fake company also hired people to wear hats, shirts, carry bags branded with CryptoEats in videos published by social media, and threw a party with CryptoEats branded bikes in London this weekend, according to the bouncer, who claimed he didn't know anything about the scam. And so Bouncer even put out a video because, hey, if you're going to influence and promote this kind of thing, and then you are also taken unaware, you might as well create a video to also capitalize on the hype of being scammed. Saying that OMG, CryptoEats coin turned out to be a big scam. They paid me to make a promo vid for their food app and not coin, got invited to their event. They had all the delivery bikes outside. This is disgusting behavior that people are really scamming others for their hard-earned money. So yeah, a rug pull that included everything in the kitchen sink. Again, what really stood out from it was the organization and also how quick they were to disappear entirely from the entire ecosystem. So there you have it. How about, because we talked about that and we can talk about this, it's been about 2 or 3 months since the great fall of Bitcoin. Whenever it reaches these levels, people start to get interested in cryptocurrency once again. For those who don't know, you can see here on the video portion that Bitcoin just hit an all-time price of $67,000. Before this, the high was like 63.7 something or other. Now we have hit $1,000. Let's see, Bitcoin price at the moment is 65,845 as of this recording. And of course doing the live radio. But yeah, it's pretty impressive how far cryptocurrency has gone. So what does all this mean? Why did it go up? Why did it come from the low 30s all the way up to $67,000, almost 70 grand? Well, the answer is it's getting more institutionalized. It's getting into more traditional avenues of investment. They're saying that the price of Bitcoin hit an all-time high on Wednesday, where one day after the first Bitcoin Futures Exchange Traded Fund, or ETF, launched. At its height, the cryptocurrency was at $67,016.50, several thousand more than its $64,895 high in April. So there you go. As of this writing, it's about 66,000. As of now, it's just under 66,000, but still crazy high. The reason Bitcoin exploded right now is twofold. The first is the memes, the groupthink, and the rallying cries. The cryptocurrency dipped around 28,000 over the summer amid fears that Washington would soon regulate decentralized financial markets. And of course, I think a lot of that had to do with China and their banning of crypto mining, owning cryptocurrency, using cryptocurrency, investing in cryptocurrency. Yeah, so China completely, ruined the markets for quite a while, but it's since bounced back, and they said that the second reason is that Tuesday launch of ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF on the New York Stock Exchange. The fund will let investors place bets on the futures of Bitcoin without actually owning any other cryptocurrency itself. It's another step in the slow legitimization of cryptocurrency. Saying that 2021 will be remembered for this milestone, which is essentially that, Bitcoin and really cryptocurrency as a whole, and because Bitcoin is so the heaviest part of cryptocurrency, becomes legitimate. You can go to the New York Stock Exchange and you can say, I would like to buy 1 Bitcoin, please. And they'll let you do it. So they mentioned that if you listen to the tech investor and Peter Thiel, however, the price surge is a sign that America is crumbling. According to the information, Thiel told a Monday night gathering that the rise in popularity of cryptocurrency was a sign that the U.S. political and financial system is dying. So I don't know if all is, the end is nigh, but Bitcoin's up. That's the thing. Regardless, some Bitcoiners are now anticipating that the price surge will continue, and that's simply because more outside money and more transactions are clearly, facilitated outside of places like Coinbase and other exchanges. So there you have it. Bitcoin up to $67,000 and a new all-time high. It's pretty crazy. How quickly it went from, about $40,000 up to, less than a month ago to now 66, almost doubling in value. Very, very strange volume. But remember, it's still only $1.2 trillion in market cap, which sounds like a lot of money, but that's like what, half of an apple? It's still pretty fledgling. So just be careful out there. Definitely don't encourage anyone to listen to this program for investing advice. Okay, let's see. We have time for 1 or 2 more stories. How about we talk about a little bit of OnlyFans? Don't worry, this is going to be safe unless you are, TikTok, of course. Okay, how do we go from here? A particular organization, and I want to say it's the Consortium of Museums in Vienna. The Consortium of Museums in Vienna has created an OnlyFans. And you're thinking, wow, Ben, a museum, why would they have to do that? Why would they do that? That sounds so ridiculous. Why would a state-funded, federally employed museum have to start an OnlyFans? Well, turns out that they had, and hopefully this this shouldn't get me in trouble. It is simply history, art, what have you. They said that the Museum in Vienna have created an OnlyFans account to post nude artworks as part of the new wave of prudishness on social media platforms. The so-called Vienna Laid Bare initiative was launched in Vienna's tourism board last week along with its OnlyFans account. So they had TikTok, and then they posted images such as this, and they were since banned from TikTok for, posting photographs from Japanese artists depicting obscured breasts. TikTok did not immediately reply to an email, but they decided that if we're supposedly posting nudes to TikTok and then we were banned, where are you supposed to post nudes? And hey, that's where you create the OnlyFans. So the OnlyFans is completely free. It's not like they're charging for it. They're sharing the pictures anywhere they want. And I'm sure a lot of this is simply just a way to kind of promote the museum and, promote the artworks that are on display there because this is run by the tourism board. But they mentioned in a press release that Vienna and its art institutions are among the casualties of this new wave of prudishness, with nude statues and famous artworks blacklisted under social media guidelines, and repeat offenders even finding their accounts temporarily suspended. That's why we decided to put the capital's world-famous quote-unquote explicit artworks on OnlyFans. Major social media channels like Instagram and Facebook have nudity and lewd content firmly in their sites, it added. So, yeah, it's even if it's historical, even if it's world famous, even if, let's say, the statue of David, everyone knows what that looks like. There is nudity. No one would say that that's, particularly offensive. It is classical art, but hey, social media don't give two figs. Yep. So among others, the OnlyFans account will feature artists. They mentioned a couple of different artists here, and I'm not even going to try to name these, but on the Vienna Tourism Board, other social media accounts, it teased the so-called X-rated artworks, including in a YouTube video showing a suggestive image of the statue with the text "Want to see Venus?" and her mound of Venus. There you go. This isn't the first time that the fine art world has run up against increasingly strict rules on depictions of nudity on social media platforms. 2018, the Flemish Tourism Board mocked Facebook for continually censoring nude paintings from the Baroque painter Peter Paul Rubens, and in the same year, a French court ruled that Facebook was wrong to censor Gustave Courbet's Origin of the World. There you go. Social media nudity. They just don't want any part of it. It's, let's see, is Origin of the World the one I'm thinking of? Let's see, Origin of the World painting. Which one is that? Oh, yeah. Nope. I can definitely see why that was done. I mean, social media is going to have their own rules. They're private companies and all that good stuff. But, yeah, who knows? So, while the social media platform have a long history of banning sexual content art that feature nudity, even OnlyFans, a platform known for adult content, has considered banning some forms of it. They announced that it would ban sexually explicit content, and it reversed the decision, and of course the backlash, and a lot of people fled, but a lot of people came back to OnlyFans. So we're going to leave this here. Again, we'll have a link to this article in the show notes if you want to see more, but we're going to skip down to the end and say that, well, part of what makes this problematic is that there is no clear guidelines on these platforms, nor rhyme or reason in regards to what nudity is considered offensive and what nudity is not. We've had a 3,000-year-old work of art be censored. Clearly, there was something wrong here. Where they mentioned that it's art, it's from 3,000 years ago. Clearly, they think that society should have the ability to understand and perceive something that is 3,000 years old and something that had survived through many iterations of society, and suddenly now it is once again obscene, even though, hey, 3,000 years ago it wasn't, but today it is. What's changed? What has to change? Who knows? But there you go. I approve as well of the OnlyFans of Vienna. The Vienna Tourism Board. Who knew? So, I think this is worth talking about. PayPal may buy Pinterest. I know a lot of people out there really enjoy Pinterest, and, odds are if you are of the male persuasion, probably not, but if you are of the female persuasion, probably so. PayPal is reportedly in late-stage talks to acquire Pinterest. According to Reuters, the payment company made a $45 billion offer on Wednesday to buy the social network. And I gotta say, Pinterest, of all the different social networks I have seen, they do a really good job of, making the content, just be everything. It's not about the reactions to the content. It's not about people's feelings to the content. It's not about live streaming content. It's not about, things that are supposed to be engaging. No, it is just content. It is just pictures of sewing, pictures of flowers, pictures of wedding stuff, pictures of dogs, puppies, cats, cartoons, pictures of anything and everything. And that is Pinterest. It's really something that sets it apart from a lot of the other mainstream social medias. And that's definitely a good thing. So I can see how they want to pay a premium for this. Will that work out? Who knows? But the outlet put the value of the deal approximately at $39 billion, noting that PayPal planned to finance it mostly through stock. At first glance, PayPal's interest in Pinterest may seem like a head-scratcher, but an acquisition could help the company gain a foothold in the growing social commerce space, saying that that's an area where Pinterest has been an active player since 2015. In a way, Pinterest is also a safe purchase. It has managed to avoid many of the problems with misinformation that Facebook and Twitter have been plagued with. And it's also worth noting that PayPal has spent much of the past year and a half expanding outside of its traditional wheelhouse. So obviously they reached out for comment, but they made an offer today, but that doesn't mean that they accepted. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of back and forth, but by and large, it seems like $45 billion is a serious offer. So if it turns out to be true, PayPal could be the new owner of Pinterest. And hey, just goes to show that in tech and like so many other things, consolidation of the marketplace seems to be all the rage. Buying up other companies, even for tens of billions of dollars, is just kind of what you do and what to expect. So, okay, we are now left with just a couple of different stories, and I wanted to talk about bit of an update, bit of a social issue. If you've been following Netflix, they have had a bit of a time with, what the CEO said and Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle kind of had this new bit, I believe it was called The Closer. That was his new stand-up special. And, it was the last of his 3 different stand-up specials that he was supposed to produce for Netflix, and in it, he made some supposedly transphobic comments. I have not seen the special. I don't know exactly what they are, but at the same time, the LGBTQ plus staffers at Netflix decided to stage a walkout. They had some demands in front of it, including things like putting a sensitive information trigger warning in front of the segment, which the CEO declined to do because he mentioned that Dave Chappelle himself, before the show started, kind of gave that warning to his audience. Now, the CEO has come out and said that his statements were a bit tone deaf when he started to talk about this, because he essentially said, before all this blew up, was that Netflix believes in here it is. At the time, he told Netflix that they would never allow titles that are designed to incite hate or violence, and we don't believe The Closer crosses that line. He mentions artistic expression as the reason why it's not pooled and it is still being aired on Netflix. Now, Sarando says that he regrets the way he handled the situation, saying, quote, "Obviously, I screwed up in that internal communication. First and foremost, I should have led with a lot more humanity, meaning I had a group of employees who were definitely feeling pain and hurt from the decision we made, and I think that needs to be acknowledged up front before we go into the nuts and bolts of anything." At the same time, he said in a separate interview that his stance has not changed. We do tell our employees that there will be entertainment that they don't like, but it's not for them. The inclusion of the special on Netflix is consistent with our comedy offering and is one of the times where something on Netflix when there is something on Netflix that you're not going to like. As part of the walkout, employees have reported a list of demands. He added that Netflix would not add a disclaimer, as we mentioned, and the company is deeply committed to inclusion. It's equally committed to supporting artistic freedom with the creators who work at Netflix. I wanted to talk about this yesterday, but it just never really came up, and when we lightly touched on this. I always feel like being mad at comedians is probably one of the dumbest things that you can do. Because Like that is the point of being a comedian, or at least that's how a lot of comedians kind of see themselves. It's about entertaining people, making them laugh. It's all well and fun, but they're also kind of the philosophers of our time in saying that they can say things that you can be vehemently against, but they're going to bring up social issues in a way that is a little bit more palatable, in a way to start that conversation. If what they say is truly offensive and something that people truly have an issue with, stopping that communication, stopping that dialogue from happening doesn't move society anywhere. And in fact, just taking away their right to that creative expression that the CEO was talking about actually hurts that conversation, because then it just never gets brought up again. It's hush hush, we don't talk about that kind of thing, whatever. Comedians have this way of taking really difficult issues, painting them in a funny light, but then still at the end of the day, people start talking about it again. Whether it's wage inequality, depression, social issues like LGBTQ, rights and stigmas and things like that. Stopping people from talking about it, even if what they say is something that you don't agree with, at least they're talking about the issue that you care enough about to be offended by. So again, being offended by a comedian is probably one of the dumbest things that you can do. So I really do appreciate that, Netflix came out and said, we're sorry that people are hurting. We're sorry that, people were offended by this, but also we believe in the right of creative expression. And, he's not exactly calling for people to be hurt or violated, but yeah, he's keeping it up. So big kudos to Netflix on that one. Everyone, we're going to kind of end that one there. So thank you so much for tuning into the program. We hope that you had fun. Good luck in the metaverse, everyone. We'll see you when you log in. We'll know more about that next week. And again, remember, next week, Wednesday through Friday, reruns of Computer America. This Friday, we'll have Nathan Evans, and we'll be sure to reschedule Scott Schober. Everyone, until next time, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.